Hello to our Rise Against Hunger Goes Live audience. My name is Dominic Alexander. I am the Regional Community Engagement Manager for our Mid-Atlantic region. I've been with Rise Against Hunger for 11 years, and in my current role, I oversee our programs in Raleigh, Charlotte, and Kinston, North Carolina, and in Virginia, Lynchburg, and Richmond, which is where I'm based. Today is my great honor to be joined by Rise Against Hunger founder, Reverend Dr. Ray Buchanan. Welcome, Ray.
Hey, thanks, Dominic. Good to be here.
Ray, it really is an honor to be here with you and to work at this incredible organization that you founded. We've had the opportunity to travel together to visit partners in the Philippines, Vietnam, and Malaysia. Rise Against Hunger's first International Million Meal Packaging event occurred in Kuala Lumpur with over 5,000 volunteers, and being there with you has been one of the highlights of my career here. I'd like to also share with our audience, Ray, that if I hadn't been working here at Rise Against Hunger, I may have never met the woman who has since become my wife, and you should know that because you are the one who married us. I'd like to
blame me for everything.
I know. I'd like to really, truly, sincerely thank you for your friendship, your leadership, wisdom, and guidance all these years. And your wisdom is especially important now, more than ever, as our global community is facing this unprecedented time of crisis and uncertainty. When you founded Rise Against Hunger, was serving people in need during times of crisis part of your vision? And can you talk about times that Rise Against Hunger has done that?
Absolutely, Dominic. When I started Rise Against Hunger, it was to follow up on my first organization, which was dedicated to helping the hungry in the United States. And during that time, I had the opportunity to travel internationally to Sierra Leone during the height of their civil war. And some of the atrocities I saw there and some of the stuff that was going on there just struck me to my core. And I realized that we had a responsibility to really meet the needs of those whose need was far greater than our need at that time in the United States. Hunger is real in the United States. We all know that. And it hurts wherever it is, and it's an obscenity in the United States because we're so rich. But internationally, hunger was so bad that still today, 18 to 20,000 people are dying every day from lack of food and being sick and not having the nutrition they need. And so starting Rise Against Hunger was prompted by meeting the need internationally for food relief. And for the first 7 years, all we did was crisis relief. There would be times in the early years when I would leave home and be gone for 3 weeks or 4 weeks. I'd be in 9 countries and 3 war zones. I mean, it was like, I never was still because the needs are everywhere. The needs of the hungry are just as bad today as they were when we started 22 something years ago. But now with the crisis of the COVID-19, it's horrible. It's getting worse, and we haven't seen the worst of it, I'm afraid.
Thank you, thank you, Ray, for sharing. I'd like to piggyback what you said and share a brief personal story about when I was in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, visiting with some of our impact partners for a week in early 2010. I returned to the U.S. only one day before the earthquake that caused such widespread damage and devastation. But thankfully, I had just been there and just seen firsthand the 1 million+ meals that we had on the ground there that would prove to be life-saving over the next few months. The response from our volunteers, donors, and advocates during that crisis was simply incredible, and we could not have done it without their support. Indeed, one of the most important parts of our organization's mission is to engage a global community of volunteers and advocates in our work to end hunger. That obviously has become challenging in the face of COVID-19. Even from a distance, what does our global network of volunteers and partners mean to you during this time?
Well, it means everything, Dominic. The only way we're going to end hunger in our lifetime is to create a global community of people who realize that hunger does not have to exist. We have to understand as a global community that we can end hunger if we desire to do so. And you can't do that just with a group of people in the United States or in Malaysia or in South Africa. It takes a true community of people around the globe holding hands, as it were, to say, no more. We will not tolerate hunger. And that's what Rise Against Hunger is really trying to do. That's why it's so critical to have our partners in South Africa and Italy and Malaysia and Philippines and India, because we are a global community, and working through all our offices, we are touching people all around the world, giving people the opportunity not only to be engaged in actually doing something about hunger, but understanding that they're part of something much larger than just themselves. And so for me, especially during this crisis, it's just beautiful to see that we still are a community and we can make a difference.
Thank you, Ray. I know that our folks are certainly excited to resume meal packaging with our great volunteers whenever we're able. Our Rise Against Hunger team is known for adapting to difficult situations and finding ways to achieve our work to end hunger, even in the face of adversity and challenges. Can you share with our listening audience maybe a favorite memory of a time when our organization or our volunteers or supporters had to overcome obstacles to continue our mission?
Oh, absolutely. When you were mentioning the earthquake in Haiti, that was the very first major international crisis that we faced as an organization. I mean, we'd worked with crises around the world, but as a somewhat fledgling organization, we had never dealt with an emergency of that scope. And when the staff came together that first day, and you came in the office that day, everybody looked like deer caught in the headlights. So because the magnitude of the disaster was so large, but because we had partnerships on the ground in Haiti, as you said, we had 1 million meals on the ground. So we had implementing partners in place. Because of that, and because of all the partnerships we had forged in the United States, the staff was able to settle in and start pulling all those partnerships together to weave a safety net that just had a remarkable impact in Haiti. I think during the first 2 weeks or so, we were actually providing more meals every day than World Food Program, simply because we were on the ground and our meals were there. But it only happened because everybody worked together. And in this crisis, it's the same thing. We all have to work together. Even though we can't be shoulder to shoulder packing meals, we can be working together to make sure nobody goes hungry. And that's the call before us right now.
Thank you so much, Ray, for those inspirational words and for spending time with us today, for interviewing, and for to all our listening audience out there. I know everybody appreciates hearing from you. Your perspective is so helpful to have in times of crisis like the one that we face now. Love you, man. Appreciate you. Thanks, Ray.
Love you too, and thanks for being a part of who we are.